Hello.
You hear
Can you
me?
hear me okay?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you as well.
Okay. So,
Albert, my
y-
name's Colin. Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. All right, let me start the screen share.
Cool.
Uh,
While you're getting that set up, just a little bit about me. Probably just so you get like a background.
okay.
I've been playing since about season 2. I've
Okay.
been stuck D5 since about season 4, hovering around like plat 2 to D4, D5.
Okay.
And I wanted to get coaching because I had a friend that main support, and they climbed really high, and it kind of made me be like, okay, like I don't like being in the echo chamber of having all my friends be like silver and bronze. I need to expose myself to someone like that has an eye for the game that can actually look at my replay and see what I'm doing wrong and be able to like pinpoint like because I'm getting like I see my game and all these games I'm getting in the habit of like wanting to blame the jungler, blame my support, and I just want someone to be like, okay, this is what you're doing wrong. This is how you can change it, and go from there.
Okay. All right. So let's get into this replay. Xayah, Lulu, there's Bard. This lane can go either way. A lot of it depends on how well the Bard pokes you guys. And if you trade back on him properly, you should go Doran's Shield in this lane.
Oh, I have a question about that too.
Oh, go for it.
So I know like before Doran's got nerfed, I would always get Doran's Shield.
Yep.
And now I'll only get like Doran's Shield if it's like versus a Caitlyn. So when should I go? Like what are like the best starting items now for AD?
Doran's Blade is good if you have auto attack priority in the lane. Basically, what that means is that if you and your support, if you walk up together, they can't trade back against you, you go D Blade. But if they can trade back against you, you go D Shield. Or if you're against Caitlyn, you go D Shield.
Okay.
It's also pretty good versus like Twitch because it'll like you get the proc on the poison. It's pretty good versus Brand because it also procs on his passive, and it's all right versus Ashe too because you'll usually get tagged by volleys. So for those champion specific, Doran Shield is also really good too. Just in this lane though, just because Bard's autos when he walks up to trade are generally he's gonna be more annoying than Lulu. It's kind of hard for Lulu to trade back on Bard. You'll probably be getting autoed a lot by the Bard, so you want the shield sustain.
Okay.
Shield is if you don't win like just straight up auto trade, shield is usually better.
Okay. Yeah, I went Blade. So there's my first mistake right there. So I get the shield this game because of the Bard.
Essentially, because like it's kind of hard for Lulu to help trade with you, and after Xayah's 7-12 nerf, where you can't just like escalate a trade, like you can't just Q auto snare, and then like walk away from a trade. The shield is really nice.
Okay.
So you went 18-0-12, I'm assuming, because you don't have biscuits.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Do you do the summoner spell cooldown, or you do fearless?
I'm doing the other one, the one that's not the defensive one. I didn't know which one is better though between those two. I
Oh,
always like switch back and forth.
yeah. Okay, yeah. So looks like yeah, fearless. Basically how it goes is against like a team where you don't feel like you'll need your flash up all the time, you'll do fearless. If you're against a team where you feel like you'll need your flash to survive most team fights, then you just do the summoner spell cooldown.
Okay.
Just in general, I think 18-0-12 is better than 18-12-0, so that's good that you understand that. So this is really troll. What the hell?
Yeah, I was like AFK at the start too. I didn't. That's my bad because I didn't scout for that either.
Yeah, this actually hurts Graves quite a bit because you guys don't even know. If you knew, you could at least get a trade, but okay. So as they walk in the lane here, ooh, are they gonna? Okay, so as soon as Bard walks in the lane this way, you should call that like maybe started red or maybe took your red because there's no reason for them to ever walk this way unless they're coming from your jungle. And if they're coming from your
Right.
jungle and it's a Nunu, then you can usually infer like, yo, dude, he probably like took your red. So if you let him know, then he might not make the right decision, but at least he has the knowledge. So you give
Right.
him a better chance. Okay, so good poke on them so they can't walk in. You just want to be shoving here for level 2.
Oh, walk into that queue.
Yeah, that's whatever. It's still a micro mistake. Just make sure make sure you're autoing to push for level 2 early on. It's very important in most lanes. This one's no exception. Yep. Make sure you keep autoing. Get your level 2 before them. You're gonna get it for sure at this rate. So, as that minion's about to die, this is the 9th minion. 3 melees and the full wave will get you level 2. 3 ranged doesn't get you level 2. It has to be 3 melees or 2 melees in a range to get you level 2 off 9 minions. As soon as you realize that that 9th minion is about to die, just start walking up to get ready to trade with your level 2 advantage. It looks like you're just far back here. You don't really punish them at all for the level 2.
Oh yeah, that's pretty bad. I think I walked up, but I didn't walk up like as far as I could have. I think.
Yeah, you could have gotten like a Q auto, maybe a snare if you didn't walk properly. It's kind of hard now with the nerf, but
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just shoving in here. That's fine. Reset the wave here. See, that's the kind of thing. When Bard walks up like that, you kind of have to just concede the pressure for a little bit.
Okay, so far this lane's going okay.
Yeah, this lane's going fine. So Jungler just died. Just shoving up here. Okay, missed the Q, but that's whatever. I keep showing this. We've seen the turret here. That's good for you. You can poke him under. You can poke him under the turret. He has to pick between harassing you back with autos or last hitting minions. Taking a little bit too much creep aggro here. So this whole sequence is pretty good. You're putting poke on him when he walks up. You get shielded here, so you're not afraid. You step up to the Bard. You don't have E up, unfortunately, so you can't get the snare there, but you're getting... at the very end, right then, when the Varus wasn't in range anymore, you want to back up further so you don't take as many melee minion autos. But aside from that, that whole sequence is pretty good. Very aggressive poking, which is what you should be doing when you have the lane priority from early push. So that's good. Okay. So the big mistake here is you just use your E. You jump the gun with using your E. So basically how this trade is going to play out, I'll play it a little slow for you. So you start trading forward, right? You get the Q off, and now you have feathers. There's no need to E immediately here. I'm assuming you're looking for the Varus. The Bard kind of just walks into the feathers. You could have walked to the side. Do you remember, like, how long ago was this game? Do you, like, remember?
I was just earlier today, actually.
Okay. So if you're trying to trade onto the Varus here, you still have feathers. You still have 2 feathers, I believe. Oh, you have 5 feathers, actually. You have 5 feathers ready. You can just keep autoing him, and then just... If you're autoing, like, this way, like, your feathers are going to go through here, right? Here, and you already have feathers here, and you just keep autoing, and you hold on to your E, he's got nowhere to go to get away from the snare. But in this case, you pull your E a little early. It does hit Bard, and it chunks him a little bit, but in this case, you're more looking for the Varus in this trade. At least that's what it seems like to me, so holding on to your E is a little better here, because you still have feathers ready. And you don't really have to be too afraid of them killing you, because their cooldowns are already expended. So if you had held on to your E there, you could have potentially forced a summoner, but using it there, they can walk up on you now because they realize you don't have that threat anymore.
Right.
Cut.
Ooh. Yeah, goes pretty disastrously here.
Yeah. Good flash, but so basically what happens in this trade, pretty much goes back to what I said earlier in the lane. Like it's kind of hard for Bard to, for Lulu to trade against Bard. He's just better trading early once he has meeps. And the thing is, he can dictate the trades because it's kind of hard for Lulu to walk up and just like hit him with stuff because it's kind of hard for Lulu to walk up and hit him because it costs so much more mana. Whereas Bard just walks up and autos with the slow and then he gets a free Q and then he backs off. He doesn't really have to use too much mana and he can go get meeps for mana. So what happens here is you have to walk through the E here, and then the trade escalates right here when Lulu turns. So you're a little far here. You should have. I'll actually freeze frame exactly when you should have turned. So you get forced back a little bit here, right? Because the Varus is gonna E you here, and then you walk out. You have to walk away from the anti-heal ground, back up for the minions a little bit here, and here you should be looking to turn around right around here instead of walking a little further back because now Lulu turns because the minions are off you now, and the fight escalates. Bard's got a meep, and then he just meep autos into Q. Your heal's a little slow here. I actually think you might win this fight if you get the heal off before the Bard Ignite. When you get into a situation like this where as soon as you see Lulu turn here and uses Ignite, as soon as you see Lulu turn, you might not think it's going to escalate, but as soon as Lulu ignites here, you should know that it's going to be an all-in. So as soon as you see that Ignite from Lulu, your first instinct should be just immediately heal. Especially because you're missing, like, both of you will, like, you're healing for your support, but you're also healing for yourself in this case because you're not full either. it's a little different if you're like in this case if you're at full HP and he wasn't, because I can understand that because you don't want to waste the heal solely on the support. But in a situation like this where it's likely escalating to an all-in and you need the heal HP as well, like none of the HP from heal is gonna go wasted. Just heal immediately because as soon as that ignite goes out, your heal is worthless. It's not gonna save him anymore.
Yeah. That's what happens.
Yeah. So like, cause just if he had to use at least one more auto on the Lulu, then you probably win this fight. But because he, like, imagine if you had an extra auto on him right now at this HP, he would be the one who had to back up. Once again, you also kind of use your E a bit early. You jump the gun and you don't get the snare on it, and he ends up just running you down. So yeah, the two big mistakes there. Just you need to hold on to your E a little more. You need to be a little more patient with it. Don't just use it for the harass damage unless they're not. You know it's not going to be an all-in, and be more like. You gotta heal faster if there's an ignite in the lane. If they have exhaust, you can hold on to the heal as long as you want and bait with it. But if they've got ignite, and in this case they even have Varus E to heal reduction, you gotta just use it immediately. You can't hold on to it and be greedy.
Right.
Okay, so just walk back to lane here. You had enough for. Okay, you only had longsword and boots. That's fine. Boots is goodbye here because you need to make it back to lane ASAP so you lose as little minions as possible. So good awareness to buy that, and the longsword's fine. Okay.
Yes, sword. Oh god. It's gonna be a fun lane from here.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so slow pushing it here is the correct play, because if you have a minion wave, then you've got at least some sort of a chance to win. With BF sword, probably not. If you had like double longsword and you had the minion wave, definitely would have had a better chance, but not much you can do. Yeah, just showing you this is fine. They're on the dragon with Nunu. When they're not back in lane at this point, you should be missing pinging just to be careful, like just so your team knows like something's up. Okay, so you're probably just dead here. There's not much you can do.
Yeah.
You identify that, so you turn to fight. That's about the best you can do. You turn and fight, so at least your Lulu gets out. So that's about the best you could have done with the situation. The thing that you could have changed is once. So let's just do a timer, okay? Let's just do an internal timer. So you get back to let's see where they recall, okay? They recall at 4, what is it? Shows the lane, shows the lane, shows the lane. Recalls 4:30. Okay, so let's speed up. And so you're gonna catch this wave. Takes some probably like 20 seconds to get back to lane. Depending on like some champs have slightly higher base move speeds. Some you don't know if he gets boots or not. So you shove this, you shove this, you shove this. And then once he doesn't show on this wave at all, like as soon as you hit like auto this wave a few times, this is about the time where you realize something's wrong, because he's been out of lane for 45, 50 seconds now. If he's not showing on this wave, he's either roaming mid or he's doing dragon, because there's no reason for him to be doing anything else, right? Like there's literally nowhere else he could be. And if you take it one step further and you see like, oh, they can't roam middle because my Vel'Koz is backed, then you can infer there's only one thing they can be doing. Unless like theoretically they could go top, but it's like quite unlikely. So you can kind of infer that they're on dragon. And it's not even about like stopping it. I don't think you really could have stopped it. It's that you need to identify at that point. It's like, oh shit, like they're doing dragon. I need to get this push and I need to leave. Because if they're not back at this point, it's really scary. And then they make a good play, leaving the dragon to Nunu to finish. So by the time you get the indicator, like, oh, dragon's dead, it's already too late for you. You actually needed to just infer, based on the clues you were given, what they were doing. Because as soon as it's at that point, the point of no return is really like, it's even before like the dragon dies. It's like right
there.
Here, yeah. At this point, once they take this portal, it's over. Like you're not gonna get out really. Like even before you get the notification. So
yeah,
like we said earlier, at this point you realize, which is good, you just turn to fight. You don't really have another option, no summoners to get out. So you just let Lulu live, so that's fine. The best you could do in that situation. So I'd pick up another longsword here and then pot control ward, probably. Okay, so you don't buy any
Oh,
consumables.
that's bad.
Yeah, which is, yeah, a mistake when you're behind in this lane. You just want as much sustain as you can to stay in the lane because you don't have a Vamp Scepter. So yeah, you need a few pots when you're walking back into lane from your behind. Okay, so just walking back to lane here. This is 7-12, right? It has to be 7-12.
Yeah, it's the most recent
This
patch.
guy, I guess this guy didn't get the memo. Still got 3 North streaks. Okay. So just last hit under turret here, not much you can do.
Yeah.
Vel'Koz comes in, they just kill him. No assist for you, unfortunately. Can't really do anything to Bard. Ziggs flashes. Get the good root. And
I think I messed up my micro there.
yeah, we'll roll into this fight. So pretty much every team fight, what I'm gonna do is I'll play it in full speed and then I'm gonna play it in half speed and we'll walk over it. I just want to see everything that happens. So you have minions to catch at the turret here. So you see Vel'Koz coming in. So you start walking up a little bit here, which is good. You try to clear the way, but Vel'Koz is already committed. So you realize that, which is good. You don't tunnel on the farm. And then Ziggs shows up with TP. So you walk up here, and you're with Vel. The only real micro mistake there is that instead of walking forward in between your last auto here, like it's actually pretty clean up until that very slight thing, because you get the snare and everything. This is fine. You're autoing, walking forward, autoing, walking forward, autoing, walking forward. Q to get the snare, walking forward, and then here you stop instead of auto. Yeah, that's the. You should just walked up a little further with this route, and then Vel'Koz probably wouldn't have had a flash. That's the only slight mistake. The rest of that was pretty clean from a micro standpoint. And then you just go back to lane here. Good that you identify you can't chase the Bard. Get the word. Okay. So that's good. You didn't tunnel on the fact that you're behind, so you needed to get you didn't go fall into the mentality of I'm behind, I have to go get this farm. That's good. You followed up on your team, picked up a kill for it. Could have been a kill and an assist. Vel'Koz kills Varus pretty fast, so you miss out on that assist, but not the end of the world. So now you realize you should shove the lane and just recall. So good. Just hit that and recall. Perfect. Okay. So you got you could have dropped the ward in the bush before you recalled because you're about to have 2 charges, but not the end of the world. So Zerker Greaves. I'm assuming you do Essence Reaver build, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're doing Essence Reaver build, I wouldn't rush Zerkers in this case. I'm not even sure I would get Zerkers. This game it's a little less egregious because well actually even then this game I would go treads. Just because magic damage, magic damage, magic damage, magic damage, right? And this guy's got hard CC, slows, hard CC into snare, very situational. Swifties honestly wouldn't have been that bad with all these slows. But Merc Treads, I'm pretty sure you said you ran Fearless. So when you have the Fearless Mastery plus like a resistance boot like Tabi or Treads, in conjunction with Fearless makes you really hard to kill with whatever resist boot you got, because with Fearless it puts you above 100 in that resist, which is 50% damage reduction already, which is it's pretty damn good. So just in general, I don't think Zerker Greaves are very good on most AD carries, unless it's a game where you're gonna have such a frontline presence or such peel that you can get away with not needing either Tabi or Treads, which isn't really the case in this game. And especially the fact that you're behind already as well. I think the Greaves are really greedy buy here. I would just finish off your Warhammer and go from there.
So whenever I'm behind, I should prioritize either Tab Ice or Mercs.
Even when you're ahead, I think generally Tabi Mercs are better. Just because when you're ahead, you want to be able to play more aggressively, and that's what Tabi Mercs lets you do. Like just in general, there aren't many situations where the Zerker Greaves are better in my opinion. They're more expensive. They don't really give that much, and they don't really give that much comparatively to Ninja Tabi and Merc Treads. Just because when you have when you build as little resist as you do on AD carry, any resists you get matter a lot more.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so this is kind of awkward. So your positioning
Yeah.
in this part in this at the start of this is what is really poor. Against Bard, you never want to be hugging a wall. You want it to be right here instead of where you end up right here. I understand that you're kind of afraid of them, but you can play further back right here, and that's still better than right here.
Right.
So you walk up and hug the wall, and Bard gets a free stun. If you were like right here instead, there's no way he stuns you. So the stun doesn't actually mean that much, but because the Varus kind of doesn't follow up properly. But it gives them the confidence to dive here. And there's not much you can do at that point after the Bard hits you with the stun because you kind of have to sit there and trade with Varus autos once he walks behind your turret. The best thing you could have done was you could have gone for a little sidestep on the Varus ult. I'll show you exactly when in slow-mo.
Okay.
There's a small window to sidestep right after the Bard stun, so here comes the Bard stun. You don't have, or you only have heal, you don't have flash here. Okay. So Bard stun hits you here. Start autoing Varus. You start autoing here, and you walk over to the side, and you could turn back to the bottom here. Instead of walking forward, you could turn back to the bottom, turn back down there, and it would have been a dodge on the Varus ult.
Oh man, if that didn't hit me, I probably would have killed both of them too.
Yep. So that's just like a small, like little micro thing that you should get into the habit of. Most people, if you start posturing that you're walking in a straight line and then make a turn, they'll miss you like 9 times out of 10 until like really high elo. Just because people, if the second they see you walking a bit in a straight line, they just assume you're gonna keep walking in a straight line. So if you like fake that you're gonna walk in a straight line and then turn, it's really, really easy to juke skill shots. So that's just a small thing you can get into the habit of. So you end up getting the trade kill on Varus. Not much you can really buy here because you lost a lot of minions into the turret there. Just finish off your Warhammer. That's about all you can do.
Oh, I didn't even do that.
Yeah, you got to control Ward, but you still had money for Warhammer. Should just finish that off. No reason not to. So.
I remember thinking like, why didn't Lulu ult me? And then I saw that she was level 5 right there.
Yeah. Okay, so just spamming spells on the wave, back up, dodge the Ziggs Q, good. Catch this as it comes under turret. Okay, so your team's under a lot of pressure from the Nunu right now, so you can't really put the control ward down. It's smart that you don't right now. It's really hard to defend right now. So Varus went towards middle, so you know it's a 2v2 bottom. You don't really win it, Ziggs has level lead and Lulu's really low. Wow, that's a very good stun from Bard. Okay, so you have to be pretty careful here. You don't have heal anymore. Ooh. Okay, holding on to your ultimate. Nice. Nice. Well played. Hold on to your ultimate for Bard Q because that's his only real way of killing you, and you get the kill on him. Good job. Not much else to say about that.
Yay.
He just gets ran down. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Yeah, this game's pretty hard at this point.
Ooh, double daggers. I don't...
Yeah, how much gold did I have?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to find out. I'm very confused by this fight. 1029. Okay, so... Honestly, in this case, I think I would have just bought the crit cloak. Actually...
I had 700 gold.
You had 10k. I mean, you had 1k. You had 1k.
Okay.
So, it's a really awkward amount of money because you're really close to BF sword, but you obviously you don't have enough. Crit cloak.
Yeah.
If you do crit cloak, you can't get the Warhammer. Honestly, I probably would have just done Warhammer. Warhammer and pots. So, the thing about this stage of the game is that you don't have BF at this point, and if you don't get BF on your next back, you're just like fucked, like straight up. Like you're never gonna get to your items in a meaningful manner. So I would just get the Warhammer here, buy a pot or two, so you have lane sustain, so you can stay in lane to the point where you get BF sword. Because not getting delaying your BF sword and your Essence Reaver like any further than you already are is gonna be like pretty catastrophic for your build path. Okay, so Ziggs does Ziggs kills your turret. Wave is gonna bounce. This is actually a terrible position for you.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is just clear this next wave and then rotate to middle or something.
Do you think it would have been better just to get the Warhammer and just like save for the BF sword?
Yes.
I think I think that's what you would say.
Yeah. Just because like I'm assuming these daggers are for your second item, but at this point like you need to get to your first item before you even think about your second. You can sometimes do that if you're ahead, but you are the opposite of head in this game. So
Yeah.
you can't really be taking luxuries with your build like that.
Okay.
So you have, let's check out your vision. Okay, you don't really see anything. This is actually pretty scary. So I would, in situations like this where you don't see anyone yet, I would wait in the bush to see for a few seconds when the wave comes to see if anyone's there before walking up to it here.
Yeah.
I guess you're Xayah. You don't really care. You just walk. You just clear it too fast. Okay, yeah, that's actually fine. If you were a slower clearing AD carry, it's probably better to wait in the bush to see if anyone is coming first before you shove that. But you've shoved so fast as Xayah, it's not as big a deal. Plus, you had a pretty big wave behind you, so if Varus tried to initiate on you, it would have been pretty scary for him. So that's actually fine. Gonna kite away the golems here.
I think this was bad because I tanked so much damage from it.
No, this is actually completely fine because they're gonna push in. Okay, I don't. What the fuck? They should push in this wave. Like the correct play is that they push in this wave and then they go. I'm not sure why they're leaving already. Is there something? Yeah, I don't know why they're leaving already. Doing the golems.
Yeah.
Doing the golems is fine here. Just because if you're cutting them properly with warlords, it doesn't actually do too much to you. It does a decent amount, but the thing is, you're probably not going to be laning against them anyway because they just want to shove and push. They want to just push and leave. So like you don't really need the HP to lane against them anyway. So they go middle here, and as soon as they go middle, you should realize, yeah, you just go push because you're not going to make it to them in time, and you're so weak right now that even if you were there, you wouldn't really contribute much. So you make the correct play to just shove here. Get all the feathers out before you pull in the E. Nice. Get this push ASAP. And now you have vision of no one, so you just back in the bush. Perfect. Okay. Ooh. Yikes. This is really greedy.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, look at your vision here. Varus could come. Union could come. You don't really have knowledge of where they are. It's pretty scary to be doing this.
I think what I was thinking is that I saw that they were low. I was like, okay, I saw the Varus and Bard got chunked from something.
Okay.
Decided to push from that, but I could still probably die from
yeah,
something.
the Nunu could just run you down by himself at that point because you don't really have the mana to fight him in an extended fight. If you were full mana, then you could probably cut him out, but with the mana you had, you probably weren't able to. So, this is actually what ends up happening here with your money is that if you had just bought the Warhammer instead of the Warhammer and these daggers, you'd have enough for BF right now. But because you bought the double daggers, you don't have enough, and you're gonna have to take the L and buy Crit Cloak here, which is just further delaying. Well, it's not further delaying Essence Reaver, but obviously, like it's much better to have the BF sword in your inventory than Crit Cloak at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's actually pretty funny. Yeah.
those double daggers are actually really hurting you right now. So, I suppose I helped you push, but even so, it's not really worth the loss of having to get your BF sword at like 13 minutes. Like 13 minutes is when people ideally start finishing their first item, and you don't even have BF sword yet. Okay. So they're showing middle here. There's really not too much you can do here. It's not really your job. Let's actually see where you should have rotated at a base. So let's just take a look at the map here when you recall. You see they're on Dragon, not much you can do. You're at you needed to reset, you're waiting for your mana here, you bought Crit Cloak, waiting for mana, waves right here. So the actual correct play here is to go middle, because Varus is going to push this wave, but it's going to take some time for that wave after he pushes it to make it to your turret, because your next wave will make it in time to defend. So you actually could have just walked middle here. Varus doesn't even end up pushing it. As soon as you see Varus, as soon as you saw Varus not push it immediately, you should know in your mind, you should start to identify this, that you can just, you're free to go mid here. The wave won't come in fast enough for you to really miss anything, so you can just go mid.
So my question is, why do I want to be mid here? Is that just to help wave clear, or is that in case a fight breaks out, or what? Like, why do I want to be mid?
Both. You can help wave clear, and if a fight starts, you'll be there faster than Varus. And it also gives your team more luxury to look for a fight, because if you're there Galio's like, oh, Varus is bottom, already carries mid. I can look for an ultimate, right? I can look for a fight. Same thing with a lot of like if you had a different top laner, or if your top laner had TP. Say you had like a ward right here or like a ward right here. He sees that you're middle, Varus is bottom. He's like, okay, I can go for a TP. We 5v4 to get back into the game. It's actually more Vel'Koz's fault than anything, because he was middle and then took a really bad recall time. So Ziggs is gonna get turret pressure here. And because Vel'Koz isn't here, it's kind of dangerous for you to cross, because normally Lulu would fend off the Bard for you, and you could walk over, but because Vel'Koz's back, Lulu has to be holding the mid turret, so it's kind of scary to cross against the Bard there. So Galio comes in with ultimate here. You lose turret anyway because of Ziggs. Cut.
I think I could have saved my ultimate and then used it on Singe to make that a little bit cleaner.
The ultimate was fine. So, the reason this ultimate is not bad is because, like I said earlier, you're here and Varus isn't, so it's a 5v4, and it starts off with like their Ziggs already getting like destroyed. So normally in a fight you'll want to hold ultimate for people running at you, but because of how this fight's playing out, there's no way they can run at you. You just want to use your ultimate to get the snare off. You actually angle it a little poorly. If you had hit Singed with it, like, if you had hit both with it, it would have been a completely fine ultimate. The only reason it's even a little bit questionable is because you kind of miss-singed. You don't get the snare, so he runs a little further. But if that ultimate had hit both, it would have been a completely fine ultimate. I don't know if you were going for both and just misjudged the range or the AoE or what, but
I think I didn't recognize that Graves was cutting off Ziggs, and I thought that we needed to like just one-shot him.
Okay. That's just a fight awareness thing then.
Yeah.
Yep. So, not much else to say about that fight. Be careful standing behind people against Bard. Okay, free hitting here. See Varus coming in, it's time for you to book it.
Oh, I think I'm staying. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm dead probably.
You guys are dead. Oh, actually, that Vel'Koz plays that really well, gives you pressure. Okay.
Oh, nice.
This
Okay,
actually played really well by your team. I'm surprised. The problem with what's going on here is that you needed to pick something to commit to, because you're like half like wanting to fight and you're half wanting to leave. And what ends up happening because you do that is because you don't put out as much damage as you should, and you also put yourself in a position where you can get hit by multiple things. So if you were like further up here, like let's say right when the taunt comes and he cancels the Nuno ultimate, you can walk up instead of like walking back and forth here. And if you're like a little further up, that Bard ult doesn't hit you, and you can just kite to the left. But instead,
Varus ulted right when Bard ulted too. That's pretty fun.
If you had kited up to the left, it would have been a safer kill on Nunu, and you would have been safe from the Varus completely.
Okay. Just a quick question about that. Are you saying like I should kite up because I see the taunt coming in? I know it's going to cancel Nunu ult, and that's when I know it's safe to be able to walk up.
Yes.
And sit left. Okay.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so this fight goes well anyway, just because Bard and Varus layer their ultimates, so you don't actually get hit by anything. So.
I see that so many times.
Yeah. Galio plays the fight pretty well too, and now you have to go catch the bot wave as it's coming in. It's good that you recognize your team could get mid without you, or maybe even if your team doesn't get mid without you, you recognize that you need to catch this bot wave. This is a really poor decision. For multiple reasons. One, you're not going to get much use out of this red buff, because let's run through your timeline, right? You're going to get red buff, you're going to clear this bot wave, and then you're going to recall. Literally half of or more of your red buff is literally going to be wasted doing nothing. And second, you're missing creeps that won't be there in the future while you do the red buff. That red buff is going to be there after you clear this wave, but those minions are dying to the turret. You're not going to be able to replicate. You're not going to be able to replace those minions. So always go get the minions first before you get jungle camps.
Okay.
Unless it's not safe for you to get the minions, but you're safe in this situation. So
yeah. I have another question about that actually. So
go for it.
I understand like I should definitely go and get the bot wave before I get the red buff. But like when it comes to red buff, when do you think is best to actually pick that up? Because I think that's something I have problems with.
After you recall, and you're gonna go group with your team.
Okay, so just like right before we group, just go and pick up the red buff. Okay.
Yeah, usually that's the best time.
Okay.
There's like some other like edge cases where like maybe like you need to pick up the red buff so you can heal because they're going to Baron or something, or you need to get the red buff because it's not safe. It might like you don't have control of your bot jungle. Maybe you just like want to fight or something, so you're like, oh, I need to get this, otherwise they'll come into our jungle and take it after. Like there's some edge cases like that, but in general, if it's not being threatened, and you don't need it to heal, you just get it after a reset. So you get the most use out of it. So you'll have it if like a fight breaks out after you've bought your items already, or you'll have it if like if you're sieging after you bought, etc. Because like let's look at the duration before you finally like get a chance to use this red buff. Because you decided to do Krugs and you also decided to do Krugs. I'm assuming because yeah you're getting real close to Essence Reaver Gold. I think you're just trying to grab it before you reset.
Oh, and I messed up the Krugs.
It's fine. Small micro error. So, close, and you're resetting now. So your team's
So what
fighting
would you
without
be doing, like in game right now, if you were playing the 80?
I think you have enough for Essence, right? Off this recall.
Yeah.
It's 1400. Oh, it's 1500. Okay, it's
Yeah,
1500 with that
yeah.
items. Okay, so you actually So you actually needed the red buff gold. That sucks. Essentially, like. I would just be backpinging the fuck out of my team and saying I need to farm this to get essence, and then I'll just backping them so they don't fight. They end up winning the fight, but in solo queue, just in general, obviously there's a bunch of variables. You always want to, if possible, be there for a fight, but if you can't be in a fight because you're too weak or you're too low or you don't have resources, etc., you just backping your team and hope they don't fight.
Okay.
And you backping and pray, because like at the very least, like even if they can win a fight without you, you preferably want to be there so you can impact it.
Right.
And I actually think if you hadn't missed those minions during the red buff, you probably would have had enough money anyway. Without the red buff to get the Essence Reaver.
Something else that I want to mention is that something I've been worried about is like my damage at the end of the game. It's not where I want it to be. I want to be like the top of the damage since I'm AD. Ideally like 80% of the games, and I'm like top of the damage charts maybe half of the games. So if you just like look at what I can do to actually increase that output during like the fights or trades and whatnot.
Yeah, of course. We'll go that in depth during team fights. There hasn't been like a real team fight that you've been involved in aside from that middle one, and that one was kind of just a wash. Okay, so you're just shoving middle here because your team's fighting top. The mid wave was here. Your team has top pressure, so you can just keep pushing here.
Okay.
Yep, you still have pretty good vision of them. I would just keep pushing, honestly. Do you have blue trinket? You do have blue trinket. You could honestly just you could have tossed blue trinket like here or here, and then just hugged one side. In this case, probably the right side. You just blew the left, so you have vision of them coming in. Start hitting the turret from the right side. They come through this way, or they come through this way. You just exit towards the bottom side here, and you walk out scot-free.
Okay.
Just because like you're not going to really accomplish anything walking top at this point, because your team wants to reset, you know, and you can't do anything by yourself. So you might as well just push mid and put pressure on the enemy team to respond.
I think we stay here actually.
Well, Galio's resetting. Lulu should reset. Everyone
I
else
think we should, but I think we should reset. But I think we do stay. I think this is actually my bad too. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Ooh. Yikes. Whoa, interesting fight. Okay, still going on. Still going on. Okay, thankfully Singe doesn't see you. Just peace out of this fight. Probably the better choice, honestly. Very easy for you to get caught by a stray Ziggs bomb or a Bard Q at this point. Yeah.
Oh, I E'd there, so I didn't have my E for this fight.
Yeah.
Like, look if I had my E.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay,
I'm good
so
right
let's run through this fight.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's kind of a fiesta.
That is a long fight. Okay, so let's back up. Jeez, this is a long fight. Okay, so you're killing Scuttle here. Okay, so play closer to your team here at the start. You're kind of split from your team, which is something you never want to happen. Like you had opportunity to cross over, and you would have been safe here. So, at the very start, you wanted to the first thing I noticed is you want to be more grouped than you are here. Because the Nunu kind of just gets to run at you for a little bit because you're not in close proximity with your team. So just kite away the Nunu here. 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 And I don't like this ultimate. Just because, one, they're not going to get much follow-up on it. Two, it's only going to be Nunu getting snared unless this guy like makes a serious error. And three, you're not under like immediate threat. Like you're not under like a large threat. Like obviously this dude's running at you, but like this guy kills you really slowly. It's not like he's if he was like ulting or something, then like yeah, maybe you trade ults so you don't have to deal with that shit. But like you kind of just randomly decide to just pop the ultimate in the middle of your kiting spree here. I don't know if that's because you see Varus and you're like afraid of getting like Varus ulted, but he doesn't even have mana for ultimate. It costs, I believe it's 100. Yep, 100. And he's in a position that like he can't really walk through and ultimate you. Like if he walks through and ultimates you, the Vel'Koz should be trading back plenty of damage. The ultimate is kind of just. It seems like you kind of panic here. So
yeah, I think what I wanted to do is just one shot the Nunu and then just get like a 1 for like just a free kill.
Okay.
But I agree. I think it was pretty bad too.
Okay. So yeah, small micro error walking into the bomb, but unfortunately that small micro error is actually gonna be like the difference between you getting hit by that bomb and not getting hit by that bomb in the scope of this fight is actually insane. Because as soon as you get the Galio ult on you, if you had not been missing that bomb HP with the Galio damage reduction, you literally just turn on this dude and blow him up. Because he can't stay in auto you, right? Because if he stays in auto you, he's getting Galio knocked up, and then he just dies in the knock up to you, right? But because you're missing more extra health here, you can't really stay in auto as much as you want. You have to back up a bit, and because of that, you don't get to put autos off, and Varus gets to walk out of the Galio ult for free. So the Galio ult still hits Nunu, but at this point you're kind of too compromised on HP to really do anything. That's just a really good Bard Q. Not much else to say about that. And you get a good E here onto the Varus.
It's a good taunt too. Yeah.
Good taunt, good E. And at this point, you can't really re-enter the fight properly. You don't know where Singed it. Well, I think you just saw Singed and Ziggs coming in from the bot side, so you hug upwards, which is good. You group up with your team and hug with the upper part. But you can't really do anything here. This guy can literally just walk at you, throw WE, you're dead. But the one thing you could have done is you could have stayed like right here near the blast plant, and then if he commits to you, you hit the blast plant and you piece like you do here. But if he doesn't commit to you, you just auto him until he forces you to respect him. But like the thing is, like the only way he can force you to respect him is by running at you. Because and if he runs at you, you just blast plant away, right? And he can't chase you anymore. But you kind of just jump the gun a little bit and exit early, and just take the blast plant out immediately. You could, the difference is only like a few autos, but like sometimes like in fights that go long, like this one does, those few autos could have meant the difference between you killing them or not. And obviously, you using your E, what you do here for these 2 feathers, and not having it later, also ended up being a big, having a big impact on the end of this fight.
Yeah, because I think if I had it here, then they would have just all died, like right there.
Yep. Would have been, maybe not all, but it would have definitely got you an extra kill, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Okay. So, honestly, mainly micro errors in that fight. The only real like decision-making error that could be argued is you hitting the blast plant too early and you using your E preemptively. It's kind of hard to anticipate that scenario would arise for you, but because Vel'Koz sought ultimate, you should, at the back of your head, you should be like, oh, if Vel'Koz gets a chance to like ult, like they either have to kill you or they have to kill Vel'Koz while he's ulting, because he's such a huge threat while he's ulting. So like at least one of you will be able to do damage. Okay. So you didn't have much gold, you just picked up Brawler's Gloves, going for PD, I'm assuming? Could be like
Runins.
Okay, Runins is fine too. They're all kind of fine on Xayah, honestly. So bot wave coming into you, clearing it here.
So they killed Varus mid, but they have a Rift Herald mid too.
Yeah.
And Fire Drake is up.
Okay. So just group up with your team here. Good that you don't greed for another wave. Sin's just running at people. What?
Did I get stunned? I think I got stunned by
Yeah,
Bar.
you get stunned by something. I'll see. Yeah, that's a good ultimate. Good taunt. Keep autoing. Keep autoing. Keep autoing. Good flash. Do you have a? Oh, you don't have a ward. Okay.
Nah, I lost vision, yeah.
No ward and lost vision. That kind of sucks. I think this fight's still going. Yep, this fight is still going. Nice. Walk back in. Okay. Jesus, this fight. And
Everyone lived, okay.
I think it's. Alright, I think it's over. So let's go with this. I hope it's over.
Well,
It's kind of hard to tell with some of these
I hope so
fights.
too.
Alright, so you finish clearing this wave, you start walking up already because you realize what's going on. Your team wants to do dragon, so that's good awareness from the start. Bard ult, the dragon, so you don't have to respect it later in the fight. So what actually chunks all of your health here? I want to see. It's dragon. Can't be just a dragon auto, no way.
Zig's bomb
okay,
and
Zig's
Q.
bomb and Bard Q. Yeah, you need to be more aware of like
Yeah.
when you're against a Bard, it's kind of hard because there's no other champion really like that. You just need to make sure you're not behind teammates and you're not close to walls if he's anywhere close to you. It's kind of hard to keep in mind because there's obviously so many other things you want to keep in mind, but just in the back of your head,
Yeah.
try to take note of that because you've been hit by quite a few Bard stuns this game. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm noticing that too after watching. Like, I didn't realize it during the game, but after watching it, it's just like,
okay.
wow.
So straight off the bat, you're already 50% HP, which means as soon as someone starts putting serious threat on you, you have to immediately respect it with ultimate, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's nice to have like more leeway with your ultimate by starting off fights healthier than you have these past two. So Sin starts running at you. At the very last chance you really get, you shoot the ultimate off onto him, straight into the E, so he can't fling you, and you start kiting away. Start kiting away, start kiting away. You turn a little bit. As soon as the taunt comes out, you keep turning out to put damage, and as soon as he gets a little closer to you, you flash. That's good. You can't really anticipate that he was going to ult to help you in solo queue, so making the flash there is still the correct play. And you lose vision because you don't have a ward on Singe and he walks into the bush. Not really your fault, so to speak. So smart awareness to not re-enter the fight from the side because you don't have great vision of what's going on. You hit the plant, you come back over in the fight on this side, and you walk over, help finish off Singed. Good. So this whole fight has been pretty clean, aside from the Bard Q. And there's a situation here where you walk over and then you kind of waste a little bit of time walking back and forth. It doesn't end up mattering too much because you guys can't really re-engage anyway. But in fights, just don't really think about it. Just take the safer way around, if possible, as the AD carry, like every time.
Okay.
Just take the safer way around so you don't have to worry about thinking about it. And that's about it for this fight. You don't really get to do too much. You kind of just have to respond with what you were given, which was Singe running at you, which you responded properly. You know, you just hit him with the ultimate. As soon as he gets in fling range, you respect his fling by flashing. And that's about it about that fight. The Herald, walk behind the Herald and just hit it in the eye here. You might save turret if you did.
Does that do more damage?
Yes, it does.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought that was only when like you were
Nah.
killing it initially.
Even when it comes in, even when it's spawned, if you hit the eye, it's still more damage. So
Oh.
I don't know if it would have saved. It would have been close regardless. So there's a small thing. Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that. So
Okay. I believe 1400 you have enough for Rune on, so it's close. Oh, actually, no. I think that's off seal. I don't actually know the 80 carry prices as well as I should. Okay. So, once again, grabbing red buff. Like I said, without knowing prices, I can't really say if you're doing it because you need the money, but like I said earlier, it's kind of inefficient to get it if you're just going to farm with it.
yeah, I think my team wanted me to get the red buff as soon as possible because Nunu. I guess earlier in the game, Nunu was stealing them, and they didn't want like Nunu to steal it.
Okay,
So
that's fair enough.
I'm trying to think about what I should probably just be getting Baron pressure, like just with making sure blue trinket is on Baron, buy a control ward if I have enough gold for it.
Yep. So yeah, at this point you kind of just let your team handle side lanes at this point, unless it's there's no threat that they'll do Baron if you go bottom, and you won't get jumped on if you go bottom. Oh fuck. So you actually back with 1600 here. Hurricane is 1600 combined from these items. So you get the Hurricane and you have enough for a control ward here. You actually didn't need the red buff, but yeah, I guess if you weren't comfortable with leaving it up, that's fine. It gets you money for a control ward too, so not the end of the world.
Okay.
So now your main goal is literally to just push middle so you have mid priority, and then your team can walk over and take Baron Vision. So you should just be auto-pathing mid like pretty much all the time now.
Yeah.
No reason to really
So-
be anywhere else.
Why is it better for me to go mid instead of Vel'Koz?
No, Vel'Koz will be mid with you. You'll be 1-3-1 ideally. You'll be 1-3-1, or you'll be 4-1 with your top lane or bottom ideally. If you have a split pusher in middle lane, you'll be 1-3-1 normally. And but just in general, it's a 4-1, and then whenever the top wave comes in, either you or the mid laner catches it, and then you go back to 4-1.
Okay. I bet you get a lot of questions about that. Like, what do I do at this stage of the game? Do I go mid? Do I go top?
Yeah, it's generally you just stay with your team middle. Like if you're playing like Vayne or like Lucian and like your team is like really behind, then maybe you can just split bottom. But generally aside from like edge cases like that where you have to be a split pusher, you just go middle. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna turn on the light.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so Bard just face checks. He's dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So you still need to push and get mid priority here, so it's safer for your team to go ward. Your job is not to get the wards. Your job is to keep mid push so your team can get the wards.
Okay. That was bad for me to take top, huh? Because Galley was on his way.
Yeah. Wasn't the worst thing in the world, but generally, yeah, you just let him catch that because you had mid lane to farm. Someone else ended up farming middle, so you just allocated resources. They allocated resources differently, but just in general, your job is mid lane.
Okay, it's good to know. Because like so here, I would usually go top. Like I think during this game, I was like, okay, I should push top, and we can get that tower. That's like
At
really low.
this point, you can rotate top with your team, yeah, because Vel'Koz is already stuck middle. Generally, it'd be like Vel'Koz is here instead of you, but it's not the because he was already mid because you went top earlier. It ended up just shaking out to be you rotating instead of him, which is fine. It's just not the norm. Okay, so you're free to free hit here.
I want to see how this fight goes.
Really awkward.
I think we team fight here.
It's starting to look like it. Okay.
Oh, everyone gets chunked. Oh, where's ult miss?
Okay. Good
That
ult.
ult I think was. Oh my god, my team's getting chunked pretty hard.
This is a really awkward fight. Okay. So is this over? Oh god. Okay, so you're just going mid here, so yeah, you can't really do anything at this point. This fight goes bad because no one kills Ziggs. Kind of just free throws bombs the whole fight. Good identification that you can't really re-enter the fight against that team comp and you just go mid and push here. So they can't free Baron. Ooh.
I think they did Baron actually.
You should just push mid, yep. Because your team is, you can assume that they're going to do Baron. So if you sit here and push mid, it makes them choose between like losing the mid turret or going for the Baron. Sometimes people will get really greedy and they'll see you pushing up overextended and they'll want to kill you, and they'll get off Baron. It doesn't really happen in this case, but just like there's no reason for you to be like that afraid to push middle. You could have just gotten free damage on the turret. So let's run through this fight.
Oh god.
So this early part of the fight is pretty fine
I felt like
for the most part.
I couldn't do much this fight. I don't know if there was more like that I could do that I'm not seeing.
It's more about the terrain of this fight. They're too close to the turret for your team to die properly, and Vel'Koz doesn't really get great chances to ultimate. So this ultimate's actually really good. You get two people in the snare, and you get the singed off of you. Straight with the Galio taunt too. Oh, you don't get the root on Singe. Oh, you do get the root on Singe. Okay. So this is fine. You're just free hitting. Vel'Koz gets a good ultimate off. And then the big mistake is you walk through all these bombs here. I don't know if you didn't see them or anything, but you walk through all these bombs and you lose like half your health for free, and then you're too slow to the point where you can't actually dodge the Ziggs Q, and then at this point you can't re-enter the fight anymore, and that's literally it. that's literally it for you. The rest of your team gets like Bard queued into like Varus autos and like Ziggs queue. But you just needed like aggressing forward was fine. You just needed to not walk through the Ziggs mines to do it. And then because you walk through the Ziggs mines, you get hit by Ziggs cube too, and then that's the end of the fight for you. That's about
That
it.
took me from like full to 20, like 10% HP.
Yeah, just Ziggs mines and Ziggs cube. That's all it takes really.
Yeah.
And
I think I stepped in like all of them too. There was like one bomb up, and I just like stepped to the left to make sure I stepped on the last bomb. It's like, okay.
yeah. So you could have gotten mid turret potentially here. Singe might have stopped you, but even if Singe comes, you can just walk away from him. So no real risk in going to hit the turret. So you couldn't really stop Baron by yourself. So that's not really your fault. Just more your team lost the fight, so you had to concede it. So you buy Giant Slayer here. Whew.
Yeah, I have a quite like. Should I buy something else?
Let me see if you had enough for Last Whisper.
Yeah, I wanted to get Last Whisper. I don't think I had enough for it. I was like, okay, well,
Okay, yeah, you didn't have enough for Last Whisper. That's fine then. That's actually fine. Because yeah, at this stage in the game, you're gonna need Armor Pen soon. It's already nice to have now, but you'll need it soon. So going into Lord Doms is fine here. Yeah, I guess Lord Doms is fine. In most cases, Mortal Reminder is actually better, but against Nunu, who's just the HP tank, it's not bad to do Lord Doms. Most of the time, Mortal is better, but
yeah,
Xayah doesn't really build any HP items, and Nunu is a walking HP meat shield, so not bad here.
Oh, was that? I think that ult was bad too.
Not the greatest ultimate. Singe is just trolling the graves.
I think we get ruled here.
Yeah, fighting in chokes for Ziggs. Not ideal. Good flash. Yeah. Fighting in chokes for Singe. So it's actually pretty difficult for Xayah to fight against a champion like Ziggs, just because the way Ziggs works is that he's got the one major thing you want to look out to dodge with your ultimate is his ultimate, but like his basic spells also do so much damage to you, and you don't have you're not Ezreal, you're not Lucian, you don't have an on-demand dash to just avoid them. So
Yeah.
you have to be really careful with your positioning about it, especially because the way Ziggs works is that even if the tanks are in front, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can block the damage for you. So what happens in this fight is actually a lot of it is kind of out of your control. You're free hitting here, staying away from the Nunu, free hitting. And the big mistake here is your ultimate. It's not a great ultimate. You don't have... Bel'Kaz is too far to follow up. Graves is fighting Singe. Galio's already expended all of his cooldowns. So basically, whoever you snare off this ultimate, all you're going to get is, if you want to, you can step up and auto them while they're snared. But you're literally the only person who will get any benefit off of these snares. And you're not strong enough to the point where you can just kill them all when they're this close in proximity and full HP. So this ultimate actually ends up doing very little, especially because you miss the snare on Varus and Bard too, and ends up only getting Nunu. It forces Bard out of the fight because he plays it poorly and thinks he needs to leave when he doesn't really have to leave. But this ultimate, it could have been saved for later in the fight, for sure.
Yeah.
So now
So I'm gonna go through this fight and just like imagine if I still had ulti and see what would have happened.
So you could have dodged his ultimate with your ultimate. I honestly probably would have, just because you could have shot it in a way that like you could have put the feathers right here, and then they can't really walk through unless they want to get snared. If you had just used the ultimate like right here in this direction, and you would have also dodged Ziggs ult, so you would have been full HP here for this part of the fight.
And then then Ziggs would be stuck in the taunt, and I could just kill Ziggs.
If you're full HP here, you could have just stayed and killed Ziggs, but instead you're not full HP. The Ziggs and Varus walk at you. You have to bail out on the Ziggs a little earlier than you would otherwise. You don't have ultimate, obviously, so you don't have that damage source on Ziggs either. And because your team kind of just gets destroyed by Ziggs tossing Qs on the back line, you can't really stay and hit, and you have to flash away from Varus. So your ultimate wasn't probably the deciding factor as to why you lost that fight, but it doesn't mean you couldn't have had a better ultimate. That fight was probably screwed the second you guys chose to fight against Ziggs in the choke and you got the ultimate on 4 of you.
Yeah.
But your ultimate still could have been a bit better. So you go back to base, you don't really have money to buy anything here.
I should have had MR. I think you're right with the Merc Treads. I think that would have been so good.
Yeah. Just because at this point it's like one bomb and you already have to change how you fight, like, drastically.
Yeah.
Because you have to, if you get hit by one bomb, that means if he hits passive and into bomb on you, or you get hit by a mine into bomb, or you get hit by a bomb and ultimate, or you get hit by satchel into bomb, like, you're just dead on pretty much to all of those. So, just because you don't have any flat MR, you get a little bit from runes, but you don't have treads, like, getting hit by, you have to play, like, fights so perfectly, that you have to play fights pretty much unrealistically perfectly to put out maximum damage without treads. Treads, it just gives you more leeway to fight.
You mentioned runes. I have a quick question about runes too.
Yeah.
So like when Doran's shield became popular, I noticed that like in LCS they would get the 2 attack speed and 1 lifesteal quint, and then they would get 3 attack speed reds, and I liked it, so I put that on my runes too. I don't think it's on this account, but I was just asking you, like, do you think that's still good that Doran shield got nerfed to take the runes like that, or do you just go flat attack speeds quints?
I just do AS quints, AD reds, and then flat MR and flat armor.
Okay.
I just think that's the most consistent. Like, there's definitely some cases where maybe if I'm against Caitlyn, I'll take a different page with like some lifesteal or something. But just in general, it's like 8.5. As long as you're running like 8.5 AD, 13.5 attack speed, and double flats on armor and MR are really important. Actually, like having like scaling MR or like attack speed blues actually like gives you so much less leeway to play in the lane. Because pretty much every support does magic damage primarily, and having flat MR for those early level 2, level 3 all-ins, it's actually a way bigger deal than whatever like 9 attack speed blues give you. I think it's like 0.67 each, so it's like 5% attack speed. Like it's really not that worth it compared to having flat MR, no matter what anyone tells you. Like having that flat MR and not having that flat MR is a big difference in bot lane, and a lot of mid laners do builds where they do Cirque Shoes and hunting guys, just like this guy did. And when they have that and you don't run flat MR, they're doing true damage to you, which is ridiculous. That's why you see all these like Syndra's pressing Q on the ground into R and you just die because you don't have MR. She's doing true damage on the ultimate with you, and the base damage on that spell is like ridiculous. Same thing with Ziggs this game. Like if he hits like a epicenter like range ultimate, like you're in the middle for it, that's literally like 80% of your health if you don't have MR. And like if you don't have flash and you don't have your ultimate, you don't always have the choice to get away from it. And like same thing with like these bombs. Like these bombs are doing like 30-40% to you, and that's just enough so that you have to respect the fact that he can literally like flash auto you with a passive and then hit you with Q and you're dead off that. Like if you get hit by one bomb earlier in the fight, it's just like having flat resists just gives you so much more leeway to fight.
Okay. Do you think I'm like auto attacking correctly in most of these fights, or do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the like auto attack micro in these fights are fine. It's just like small positioning things. But the thing is, like you're playing in a mobile. I don't know if I'd say a mobile. Like you're not like Varus Ash tier. You have ultimate at least, but you're not playing a particularly mobile AD carry, and you're playing against someone like you have to respect the Singe and the Nunu running at you already, and then in the back of your mind you have to be aware of Varus ults, Bard Q, Bartle, and Ziggs Q. So just like you don't want to put that much pressure on yourself to have that many like danger cooldowns to dodge. You only have one ultimate, so you only have one ultimate and one flash. So
ooh, get knocked by that.
This is pretty scary.
Oh god, I miss my stare on everyone too.
Yeah. So there's
Jesus.
This fight. We'll run through it.
I think I played that pretty bad. I thought I would get out of the Bard ult.
So what happened? Okay, so clearly, like you think you're gonna get out of the Bard ultimate, but it clips you at the edge range here.
Because I'm slowed.
Yeah, there's a slight micro error here with your autos. Very, very slight. Oh, let me speed this up a little bit. Let's try it. Slight micro error when the Nunu comes in here.
Yeah, but all these like little errors are really really added up, obviously, in this game.
Yeah. You turn and you cancel an auto, and then
auto a mid.
Yeah. And then you get slight edged by the Bard ultimate.
Oh,
It's
that
not the
really
worst thing in the
sucks.
world. Okay, it's pretty bad, but it's like kind of like more acceptable kind of thing. You thought you get out of it, so you don't ultimate. Um, and then what happens here is that this Nunu actually just like destroys you along with this creep, um, because you don't have that much. Like you don't really have much MR. The thing about Nunu is that he's a champion who's never ever going to build like penetration damage,
Yeah.
unless I mean I guess like some crazy guys go like Leandri's Nunu or something with like sword boots and some crazy shit. But just in general, like he relies on base damages a lot, and having
Yeah.
like flat MR, like runes and treads and like fearless mastery, like his damage becomes so much more inconsequential to you, as well as like Bard's too. You essentially just get destroyed by Bard and Nunu here.
Do you
Um,
think my ult angle
you're
was okay?
do you, let me look at the ult angle one more time, because like obviously the ideal time to use your ultimate is here, but
Yeah.
you miss it, so you just keep kiting here. Yeah, I think it's fine, honestly. You don't have... The thing is, like, when you're in this situation, you really don't have many options. Like, you don't really have many good options to use your
Yeah.
ultimate. And if you held on to it much longer, you would have been in an even worse spot. So, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to use your ultimate like this. You don't get the snare, but, like, you're kind of... Your hand is kind of forced at this point to use the ultimate, and that's about the best you could have done. You could have just done it to, like, just get Nunu, but I don't think that really changes much in this case.
Yeah.
Like
So that's like
regardless,
the theme
yeah,
of the game too. Is I'm like low at the start of the fights, and then
Yeah.
I'm just like screwed.
yeah. Because the thing is, like, HP is kind of like it's kind of like a currency, so to speak. You can like look at it as like currency. You have more HP, you have more currency to like move up and like play more aggressively. Whereas if you have less HP, you can't really afford to do more. Like
Yeah.
HP is kind of just like a currency to how aggressively you can play in a fight. So we'll just speed this up because you're dead. You pick up Last Whisper here. Because you guys were actually winning, but then like, just like you guys just lose like every team fight.
Yeah. And do you think the biggest thing that I could have done in order to help carry the team fights better would just be like to stay healthy at the beginning of the fights, not get tagged by the Bard ult,
Yeah,
hit by this Bard Q or Ziggs Q?
yeah. The thing is, just like it sucks to like have to like narrow it down to the kind of just that like micro. You don't ever want to be like in a position where like you have to like dodge this and this, or like you can't fight. But you kind of put yourself in that position by going Greaves, because it makes it so you just don't have any leeway. You know, you get hit by one thing and like suddenly the scope of like how the fight plays out is different, because you just can't do the things you want to do. You can't walk up and put the autos you want to put out, because you have to put so much respect onto like the Ziggs Q or the Bard Q, because you don't have any. You don't have lifesteal and you don't have MR, so the second you get hit by something, it's curtains.
Yeah.
So
Well, damn.
yeah, he gets flipped here.
Did I play this poorly? This is something else too. I think I just all in Varus and just die.
Do you have ultimate? I can't tell if it's up or not.
I hope I didn't. If I had it, then
I didn't. Okay, it looks okay. Yeah, it looks like it's down. Okay, so that's fine. The only slight micro error here is you walk backwards a little bit here as soon as the Verisol comes out. You recognize later that like it's spreading to you and you walk upwards. But if you had done it a little faster, you would have lost like less auto time on the Varus. And I don't think all-inning the Varus is a bad play there, just because you had to walk upwards to get out of the Lulu, not the Lulu ultimate, the Varus ultimate, because it was going to spread to you. And if you walk upwards, he can just walk up to you and start initiating on you. So walking upwards to start the trade with him was fine, honestly. You didn't have many opportunities. You didn't have many good plays to make once that ultimate forced you to kite upwards.
okay. I'm surprised by how much is going right, even though like the game is going so bad too. I didn't realize we were up in kills.
Yeah.
Either.
You guys are up in kills, like up in gold for a large portion of this game. You guys kind of just lose like 5 fights in a row and the game ends. So
what do you think would have made these, besides like just me, what do you think that would have made the fights go better?
Free hitting, free hitting. I'd have to like go back and look at some of the fights. I think a
Sorry.
lot of it is the fact that your Graves is worthless in like pretty much all these fights. He doesn't really contribute anything because the only way Graves is useful in this fight in these fights is if he gets on Ziggs or Varus immediately, but he never does it because he's never in a position to. Like he actually has to just unless Galio or Vel'Koz get a god ultimate to open up the fight, Graves has to be flanking and put pressure on their backline because if Graves is sitting on Ziggs, then Ziggs has to expend his cooldowns onto him, which means you get free reign in a fight, right? But because he's kind of just sitting and he's backlining with you and he's got even less range than you outside of his like ultimate, he's literally just like worthless in these fights. Like it wouldn't surprise me if I looked after the game he's got like the least damage on your team or really close to it. Just because like he can't really do anything unless he's immediately in the backline in these fights. So, and the thing is, like, it's very hard for Galio to, like, frontline alone against that team. So, like, he needs pressure elsewhere to go on the backline so they aren't free-hitting him. If they're free-hitting him, he dies so fast. The only way he survives is if you guys put counter pressure onto their backline or you guys shred the fuck out of their front line. But it's just not plausible for you guys to shred their front line before they shred Galio in this game. So either Vel'Koz, you, or Graves has to put pressure on their backline. The best person ideally to do it would be Graves, but he doesn't really do it in any of these fights. So how the fights play out is Galio goes to frontline, he gets melted because he's solo frontlining against Varus, Ziggs, Bard against their frontline of Singed Nunu, and the second Galio can't block everything anymore and you guys start getting hit by their backline, you guys just die really fast. And Vel'Koz never has a good chance to ultimate because Ziggs is just, Singe is just running at him every fight. And if he stops to ultimate, then Ziggs ultimates him and he dies. So, just in general, it's very hard for you guys to get anything off in a fight unless there's immediate pressure on the Ziggs, which never happens in any of these fights. Ziggs just kind of runs around throwing bombs every fight. Their Singe and their Nunu are just too tanky for you guys to deal with properly because Vel'Koz is never safe to use his ultimate to shred them because no one ever puts threat on Ziggs. So, one more fight here. Wow, that was really awkward. So, look at what's happening again. Galio's frontlining, but like, it's very hard for him to survive. And then, wow, this Bard ult. Good ult, but just too little too late, really. So
maybe if I ulted before the Bard ult came.
No, I wouldn't have changed anything. This fight is over. Like, I'll show you exactly when this fight's over.
Okay.
Because you guys aren't ahead anymore. Like, if this Vel'Koz got this ultimate like 10 minutes ago, that he gets here, then you win this fight. But it's really you're just too behind at this point. He's not got his level 15. He doesn't have Void Staff. So Galio's frontlining. Ziggs' ultimate is actually not the greatest. It hits Bard. I mean, it hits Lulu and Graves, but the core people of your fights is Galio is the front line, and you and Vel'Koz are the back line. So you actually misposition. Like, it's bad that you're in this position. If you were here with the Vel'Koz ultimate, you would have been free hitting basically this whole time. But instead, because you're separated from your team and you don't have the damage to solo Singed fast, as soon as he walks towards you, you have to respect him and you can't put out any damage in the fight. Whereas if you were here with your backline, as soon as Vel'Koz starts to use his ultimate here, you could be free hitting. But because of that, Singed, you get zoned away from Singed here, and Vel'Koz gets a really nice ultimate here, but you can't follow up at all with it because you're split from your team at the start.
Ooh, that was a nice ult.
Yep. Unfortunately, he's just too behind, and you don't put any supplemental damage out during this ultimate because you're off to the side. This is actually so nice too because there's finally a fight where Ziggs wasn't able to cancel Vel'Koz ultimate, Singe wasn't able to cancel Vel'Koz ultimate, and Ziggs ult was already down, so Vel'Koz didn't have to be afraid of that when he ulted. And Galio actually played this pretty well. He was frontlining for a long time for you guys. But because you're split off to the side and you guys are kind of just behind now, and because Graves is useless, you don't have the damage to win this fight. By the time this Bard ult comes out, this fight's already over. Like, imagine like you weren't Bard ulted right now. Like, still, what are you gonna do in this scenario, right? Like, this guy's got no ultimate anymore. You still have your ultimate, but like, best case scenario, you're like right here, right? And you get an ultimate and you snare them, but like, you don't win the fight still. You just don't die. Which, like, it doesn't really change anything. Because at this point, like, you guys need to win a fight. If you guys just survive, like, let's say you were right here, you didn't get hit by the bar ultimate, you threw your ultimate in this choke, you got the snare on 3 of them, and you walked away, what happens? They literally just turn and kill Baron. Because you guys are too low to walk back in, right? Because this guy has to go back. Regardless of you getting the snare off here, he's probably dead anyway. Vel'Koz has no ultimate anymore. Lulu's dead. Graves has to recall. They just turn and kill Baron, and then they end. Like, the fight is already over at this point, really. The big mistake was just you not being there at the start to put out damage when the Vel'Koz ulted.
Oh, I think I had Summoners up too. Maybe if I like flashed up, I could have made like a flashy play there too.
Let's see if you had sums.
I think I at least had flash.
You don't have heal. It looks like, yeah, your flash is up. Okay. So yeah, you don't enter the fight the safe way, like I talked about earlier, and you just get forced out by Singed here, and then you never have a chance to cross back, and then Vel'Koz gets the ultimate, but no follow-up at all. Galio's already tanked as much as he can tank. Lulu and Graves got forced out by Zig's ultimate, and you weren't there. You were the only one who could have potentially maybe followed up. Would you have won the fight? I doubt it, but you would have had a better chance. Maybe you don't lose here. But yeah.
Let me start. Yeah, I got flamed. I'm not gonna lie, I got flamed pretty hard this game, and I was like, I didn't feel like I felt like I didn't do that good in lane, but I felt like after that it was okay. I just was really behind, and
there's definitely a joint effort in the loss. No one in this team particularly team fought very well. I guess Galio did a pretty good job, honestly. He had a pretty hard job of frontlining against that team. I think in most cases he was frontlining pretty well. Graves was useless. Lulu was like the big deciders of the fight are gonna be how long Galio stays alive, if Graves actually does anything, and how good the Vel'Koz ultimate is. You're not super important to these fights because like if Graves and Galio don't do their job, then it's pretty much impossible for you to do your job. In an ideal world, unless you're like scripting and you dodge every Q and you just kill everyone. But like in an ideal fight, Galio's frontlining. While he's frontlining, Vel'Koz gets a good ultimate, and he doesn't get pressured to stop his ultimate, and he can free hit because if Graves is in the backline trading his life for pressure on Ziggs. Because if he's putting pressure on Ziggs and Ziggs isn't throwing straight at you, then you can kite upwards with the Vel'Koz ultimate and Galio frontlining, and you can just like run through their team. But Graves is he's pretty useless this game. His build is bad, and his play in team fights was poor too. I'd really like to see his damage after the game. But
what's wrong with his? I thought his build was okay.
He doesn't have cleaver. He needs cleaver. There's 2 tanks. The way he was playing fights was that he was sitting in the back with you, hitting whoever you hit. But the thing is, his autos are worthless because 1, he doesn't have Bork, and 2, he doesn't have cleaver. So he's literally tickling these people who are armor stacked. Like, let's see how much armor this guy has. Oh, I can't see because the game FF'd. So let's just turn on all vision.
Varus isn't even that much. It doesn't look like he's that much farther ahead than me either. He only has a BF sword over me,
okay, so
which isn't as bad as I thought.
211 armor on the Nunu, 184 armor on the Singed, and okay, his ult is still on. But yeah, this guy does maybe, when he crits, 150 damage in auto. Maybe 150 damage auto with a crit to these guys. This guy's got 4.4k health. This guy's got 3.2k health. He's literally tickling, and he doesn't have Bork, so he doesn't have any consistent damage either to help you shred. He's literally contributing ultimate to the enemy backline, and he's doing like 50 to 100 damage with his autos at best, hitting the front line with you. So essentially, he's worthless, and he's worthless to hit the front line. And with that build, he can kill the back line, but he never played to kill the back line. So he was just useless.
I see.
And that was a big problem with the game. Like, if he built Cleaver for you and helped you shred, like, the front line, maybe it's plausible that, like, you guys can kill the front line by the time Galio can't tank anymore. But he doesn't kill the back line. He doesn't ever go for the back line to give you space in a team fight to maneuver. And he never kills the front line to help you guys go target to target either. So essentially, he just doesn't do anything. His Phantom Dancer is useless unless he goes to the backline and gets a crit, but he never goes for the backline, so it's a useless item. The Hex Shrinker is useless too because look at this fight. We'll just take a look at this fight. He has Hex Shrinker in this fight, and look how much it helps him. Look how much it helps Graves. Let's just follow Graves. He's gonna get hit by Ziggs Q, he's gonna get hit by Ziggs ultimate, and the House Streaker is gonna do absolutely nothing for him. Look at
Holy.
that. Yeah.
I
So,
didn't realize that was pretty funny. He just walked up, took
Yeah.
all his health, ulted, and walked out.
yeah,
I didn't, holy shit.
that's his contribution to this fight. This is the more extreme case where he actually gets like 0 autos off, but like essentially that's what
Yeah.
he provides to a fight if he doesn't go straight for the backline. Like
Wow.
this item is useless, this item is useless, this item is useless, and this item's the only one that might help. This item is the only one that's not worthless in a team fight. The way he contributed to team fights because he got like it boosts his ult damage, but that's literally it. Like all the rest of these items are pretty much worthless to his contribution in fights. So basically, like he's a non-factor with 10k gold, and like
So,
yeah,
okay, so that explains this game. I know it's a kind of a small sample size,
yeah.
but like judging from this game, what do you think I have to do in order to get out of D5? I'm stuck in Plat 3. I think I'm stuck in Plat 2 on this account.
Just basically from this game, clean up your laning. You have a pretty good idea of like how to handle waves, like when you need to push and when you're catching and when you're slow pushing, etc. So that's good. You got a good eye for that. Your buying was a little suspect.
Yeah.
Your micro honestly is about where it needs to be for like Diamond 5 Platinum MMR.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing like egregiously wrong with it. Obviously, I could nitpick small things here and there, but essentially that wasn't really the big deal. Aside from like not respecting Bard, that's something you need to look out for, especially as Bard's probably gonna become more popular. Because he's pretty good into most of the meta supports now. So be more aware of where your positioning is in relation to walls and enemy teammates against Bard. There's a lot of times in this game where you take a really bad trade or you get chunked out because you don't respect Bard Q. So that's something to look out for as far as a micro standpoint. As soon as you like that 2v2 bottom, it happens so fast, but just start to like this early laning up at, it's not even like your early laning because your early laning was completely fine up until this botched all in. So it's not even that was the problem. Like you pushed for level 2, you were harassing every single time like there were backs or someone died, you pushed the wave properly, you understood where the wave needed to be. It's just that this is like in these all-ins like this, your E usage was a little poor. We talked about that earlier. You need to be a little more patient with your E, but the main thing is just when you
watching that again is so bad.
Yeah, when you suspect that shit's gonna escalate into an all-in, be fucking really ready to hit that heal key. Because honestly, if you hit this heal before the Lulu gets ignited, I honestly think you just win this outright. Because Lulu does the proper thing and ignites before the Varus heals. So if you had just got your heal off before Lulu got ignited, I think you would have just won this outright. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other final thoughts?
Any other final thoughts? So we've gone over laning. Team fight. Like honestly, I don't want to. I can't really draw too many conclusions about your team fight in this game, just because like this was such a difficult game to team fight in because of the multiple factors of. You didn't have that much MR, so you had to play so respectfully of enemy cooldowns, and the fact that like you weren't really getting, like your Graves was like essentially just useless. Like it was very hard to, it's very hard for you to get space in a team fight because Graves didn't do anything for you at all. He didn't create space by hitting their backline, and he didn't help you shred frontline either. I can't really draw too much about your in-fight, like you're just team fighting in general. Like obviously, like you can point out, like I pointed out the micro mistakes you made in the team fights, just because like I want to make sure you're aware of them. But like most of those micro mistakes, they're pretty in a different world where like the Graves team fights properly, or you've got Merc Treads instead of Zerker Greaves. Those mistakes don't matter as much. And you still have more leniency to team fight. It's just that the fact that you did go Greaves and then your Graves was useless, that your margin for error in the fights was just so much smaller than it normally like should be. I don't know if you were here for when I coached the Lucian guy earlier today, but like a bunch, like he was getting hit. He got hit by a lot of stuff like left and right. But just because of the nature of his champion, he's got lifesteal, he's got mobility, he had like a ninja tabi and stuff. Like he got to make so many more like micro mistakes in fights and have it still not matter as much just because of how the nature of fights was playing and because of what he built.
Okay.
And that's mainly the main error, like the main problem that happened in these fights. Like no one was creating space for you, so you had to play pretty close to like mechanically perfect to carry fights by yourself, and that's just kind of like a hard ask for any player, not just like someone in your MMR. Like there's so many things that you needed to respect, and obviously
Okay.
like you just got hit by one or two, and that's essentially the end of the fight for you. The real big mistakes were like this level two all or this level two slash three all in, and like yeah, you some of your ultimates were off, but it was mainly your E usage in the fights that, and just like in lane and in fights, that was the bigger problem than your ultimate usage. Like some of your ultimates were like kind of just necessitated because of the poor situations you got put in by the nature of the fights. I'd say your E usage is something you should clean. You should look into cleaning up a lot more than your R
Okay.
usage. You kind of jump the gun on it a lot of times,
You're right.
and yeah, that's about it. Like your macro stuff is overall like fine. Like I talked about earlier, just your job is to be getting mid push for your team outside of bot lane phase. You had good idea of when to push the wave and stuff, so that's
Okay.
good. It's just like yeah, it's kind of sucks because this wasn't like too good of a replay to look over because like in a different game where
Okay.
like the team fighting isn't so on a razor's edge, I can like comment more about your team fighting, but like honestly like there's like a bet players who are like a lot more mechanically skilled than you that would still probably have issues if you like put them into the game at that like 20-minute period where with like your build and stuff with like Zerker Greaves and like
Okay.
the Graves playing the way it is. Like it's a
Yeah.
hard ask to like say like yeah, hey, you, like team fight and carry these team fights because like one
Yeah.
mistake and it's like it's donezo. So
Okay.
I can't really
Also,
comment too much about the team fights in this game particularly, but yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'll implement like a lot of things, especially the biggest. I think the easiest thing to take away from like just the coaching is okay. This is like why Zerkers isn't that good of a buy, and this is why like Mercs or Tabis are almost always better.
Yeah, because like you can look back at all these fights and like how much of these Zerker Greaves like honestly really help you, right? Like
Okay.
it's the Zerker Greaves are good when, like in like a DPS standpoint if you're free hitting the whole fight, but because of how fights went out, you rarely got to free hit. Like if you rarely got to auto at all. Like there was that like this one team fight top if you remember. Let me see if I can find it real quick, where the one where you literally just you get like two autos in and then you walk across Ziggs bombs, you get hit by a Ziggs Q and like the fight's like over. Like
Yeah.
that fight in particular just really illustrates like how little like Zerker Greaves will help you in a lot of cases. Like I understand like maybe you saw like Singe and you're like okay I'm gonna have to auto attack a bunch and kite, but like there's more to it than that in a game like this.
Okay.
So you got any final questions before we wrap up?
Um, no, you looked at you answered a lot of the questions I have, and I think you did a pretty damn good job. I'm gonna go ahead and implement some of the things that you said to go ahead. Like I got a notepad and wrote down some stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and do these things, and then probably hit you up in like a week or 2 weeks if you still do coaching.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
assume.
for sure.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll be like, okay, because okay, this final thing I want to say is like I looked at I was doing with my friend and I looked at his match history and it's like he's like in D2, which isn't even that high compared to like Challenger, but it's like I looked at his match history. He's playing with fucking Lod, and I'm like, why would you want to duel with me if you get 80 carries like Lod in your game? And I just made me feel like okay, I've been playing this game for so long, I need to get like high MMR. I'm tired of being fucking D5. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate your time, and yeah, I'll hit you up again for more of these sessions, man.
Yeah, sounds good. Just Skype, Discord, or even when I'm streaming anytime, and we'll get something worked out.
All right, I'll catch you later, Albert.
Peace.
Thank you. Bye.
No problem. Okay, so